just do a little bit of a review of a very relatively complicated issue, which is very practical. We were talking about the top three spheros. So in the process of yesh me'ayin, creation, taking something infinite and making it into something finite, so it goes through a spheros process. And the three spheros that are that we don't usually talk about so much are Keser, Chochma, and Bina. And then comes the things we can relate to more, which is the Zayin spheres, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes. We can relate to it. Keser we have no relationship to at all. Chochma, at least we can understand what it is. So what it is the whatever it is that HaKodesh Baruch Hu put forth, in words of the Arizal, Ritzoynoi HaPoshet. What does Hashem want? That's the Chochma. Chochma doesn't mean wisdom, necessarily. The Chochma should be newly defined, even in regular language. Chochma should be newly defined as like a substance, a bite of information. Chochma is a thing. Chochma is a thing. Dvar Chochma. It's not something you do. It's not a verb. It's a Chochma. Is it a piece of information, let's say, or a piece of anything, Chochma. So when we talk about Chochma, it goes together with Chesed, right? It's something but there's something, Chochma, giving this from here, it's something which is transportable from one person to another. So this Chochma is the second sphera, and Bina is the third sphera. Now, this is called, we learned last week, or this week, that's in the, let's call that the chitzonius of the spheres. So the chitzonius of the spheres means, in an objective sort of a way, there's Hashem's Ratzon, there's Hashem's Chochma, and then there's the Bina, which is some type of, we'll explain more Bina today, hopefully. Try to explain Bina. But that's in an objective, chitzoni type of a way. So that's called the midos hachitzonius. And the midos hapnimius, where it's something more that I can relate to, the pnimius of it. So in other words, you say Hashem's chesed, what does that mean? It means ava. That's the pnimius of it. So then we have Chochma, Bina, and Das. So Das is in the pnimius, and Keser is in the chitzonius. Does this ring a bell?
Yes.
So what does it mean? So David, so say it over in your words.
It means when there's an integration of the ideas that were in an abstract form before, so then it becomes down to earth, so to speak, the form which is Das. So now it becomes a reality we can understand, which is really a reflection of a higher initial.
Right. So very good, very good. So, or to put it even simpler than that, Keser is when it's Hashem's Ratzon. Das is when it becomes my Ratzon. So Ritzon al Pashut, it's Hashem's Ratzon. So I gave an example psychologically. People could do things because it's the right thing, or they can be motivated and compelled to do something because they have a fire in the belly. It's like something which is really motivating me. It's my Ratzon. So the person that's going to, usually the person that's going to go jump into fire to accomplish something is not the person who has the abstract Ratzon, but it's the person with Das. So Das, I explained, is a certain type of maturity where it's not just Chochma, it's not even just the process of Mitzvah. I gave an example of Reb Zalman Volozhin. He wasn't a Bar Das. He wasn't Bar Mitzvah. He wasn't a Bar Das. He jumped into the hay. The pshat is that it wasn't integrated. It wasn't matured. It didn't take root within him. So Das becomes the pnimius of the midos. It's very important. So it's not a machlekes, it's just two different things. It's two different things. There's the Keser Chochma Bina or Chochma Bina Das. So why is Das on the bottom and Keser on the top? Very simple, because Das has to do with us and Keser has to do with HaKodesh Baruch Hu. So it's very simple why it transposes that way. It says Reb Tzadok, B'das ze Ruach HaKodesh. Okay, another step. Das is Ruach HaKodesh. Why is Das Ruach HaKodesh? Das is Ruach HaKodesh. Mashakasav of Rashi. Let's look at that Rashi. Parshas Kisisa. Here the Chumash talks. Hashem said, Re'ei karasi b'shem. Every word here is helpful to us, but we don't have time to spell in all the words. Karasi b'shem. What does that mean? Re'ei karasi b'shem. Betzalel ben Uri ben Hur lamate Yehuda. So what did Betzalel do?
He built.
Okay, so how do you see that in the spheros?
Somehow.
So what he did, what did he do?
He had Ruach HaKodesh, which showed him.
No, not how did he do it. What did he do? He built a Mishkan, which was bringing Shechina into this world,
reality.
So that's what made it. Which sphere is that? Malchus.
That's right.
Shechina zu Malchus. Klal Gadol and Zohar. Shechina zu Malchus. Asuli Mikdash b'shachanti b'soicham. You've basically completed a cycle.
So Das is Zachar. It's the beginning.
Okay.
Das is, I thought both.
Das is both. So top.
Oh.
So Re'ei karasi b'shem, Betzalel ben Uri ben Hur lamata Yehuda, va'amalei oisai. Now let's watch this carefully. It says Hashem to Moshe. I'm talking to you now about Betzalel. Says Hashem to Moshe. I'm talking about Betzalel. This guy, amalei oisai Ruach EloKim. Okay. Va'amalei, Hashem says, I am going to fill him with Ruach EloKim. Semicolon. Asnachta. Asnachta is not a safe pasuk. Asnachta is a semicolon. B'chochma u'b'svuna u'v'das. So, Betzalel was the first Chabadnik. B'chochma u'b'svuna u'v'das. I'm going to be mamalim with Ruach Chochma. B'sugrayim. What's Ruach Chochma, Ruach EloKim, rather. What's Ruach EloKim? Ruach, which is an important word here, is Chochma, Bina, B'chochma, B'svuna, U'b'das. Uv'chol malacha. So Chochma, Bina, V'das, Uv'chol malacha. Rashi says, you know, you have to be impressed because, we learn Rashi, kids learn Rashi, the Arizal learned Rashi, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was mechaber to Rashi, he's like, Tzadok is learning Rashi, everybody was Rashi. It comes down to is a Rashi, whether you're a Kubal or whether you're a Rashi. So Rashi says, B'chochma, what's Chochma? Again, remember, we're defining, this is extremely important, we're defining in the pasuk Ruach EloKim. I'm saying Bereshis, Ruach EloKim, Ruach Hefes. That was part of the Bria. Isn't it beautiful? That was the Bria. We're talking about spheros, we're talking about the Bria. We're talking about how HaKodesh Baruch Hu took Ayin and turned it into Yesh. That's what the spheros are. How do you get from infinity to something finite? Ruach EloKim, same words. Ruach Hefes, Alpnei Hamayim. Ruach Hefes. So this Ruach EloKim, the same Ruach EloKim that went into the Brias HaOlam, went into the composition of Betzalel ben Uri ben Hur. Amalei oisai Ruach EloKim. That same stuff. Same energy. What do you make of that, Chaim? What does it mean?
It's in essence it's like creative energy.
It's a new creation. He's making a new creation in the world.
Right. Or it's this is part of the Bria.
Right.
What I'm doing here with Betzalel, and therefore with the Mishkan, is this is a completion of my project called Briat Olam. I've got a project going on here. I took Ayin, I took infinity, and I'm making it into something Yesh, V'ruach EloKim, Merachefes al first. So Moyim, the Ruach EloKim, Merachefes al Pnei Moyim. I have a lot of nigudim here, Shamayim, Eish, Mayim, like Ruach EloKim. And when this is the derech. It's this Ruach EloKim which is coming through into the world, coming through into the Mayim, coming through into Betzalel ben Uri ben Chur, right? Lamata Yehuda, which is also important. It's coming the same Ruach EloKim. Va'amalei oisai Ruach EloKim. Amazing thing. And where is it landing? It's like a where's it landing? It's like a science fiction thing, right? Where's the Ruach EloKim landing? In Betzalel, but as Hashem's talking to Moshe Rabbeinu. You got to be Moshe Rabbeinu here. Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, didn't he have Ruach EloKim?
What about?
Yeah.
Mata Yehuda. Mata Yehuda. You're a Levi. Malchus. Malchus. Moshe Rabbeinu, you're a Levi. Shloishik Sarim Haim. Right? Shloishik Sarim Haim, there's 3 different Sarim. Keser Malchus, Keser Kahuna, Keser Torah. Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu, step aside. Because right now I'm doing the Malchus. And what does Malchus mean? Malchus means that I'm mamish permeating the earth now, coming down for a landing. Hashem should forgive me for my watching too much movies, but this is the best way I have to explain it. That I'm coming down for a landing in whom? Not in you, Moshe Rabbeinu. You're a Levi, but Betzalel ben Uri ben Chur, Chur, very important in the Maisa of the Egel. Lamate Yehuda. Yehuda is the mate, which brings in the world. You're the one. Your job, your function in the world is not Torah. It is not Kahuna. Your function is Malchus. What does Malchus mean? To bring it mamish into this world. So Amale Oisoi Ruach EloKim. Okay, so we have a shot in the first half of a puzzle. And what does that mean? Parenthetically, B'Chochma B'Tvuna V'das. So apparently, if we want to understand what does it mean to be Malay Ruach EloKim, what does it mean that the Yesh Mi'ayin is taking place through me? What does it mean? It means that I have a process going on within me called Chochma. Maza Chochma. HaKodesh Baruch Hu's the Abba Shaboy, in other words, HaKodesh Baruch Hu, the giving. Okay, that's the first thing. And then Tvuna, that Betzalel himself is going to be able to process that Chochma. Ubedas, and then what? He's going to be able to process it, make it not esoteric, non-academic, but make it real, integrated. And then, almost like a letdown, but this, now that we understand this, you see this is the ikar part of the pasuk, ובכל מלאכה. And now all of his handiwork that he's going to do is all part of the process of Yesh Mi'ayin.
Which is also the Malachas of Shabbos.
Which is the Malachas of Shabbos. Very important. Very beautiful.
The Mishkan.
Right. Not accidentally. That's the whole thing.
The Tvuna is Bina?
Tvuna is Bina. That's what the word means. Bina. Says Rashi again, B'Chochma, Mashadam Shemea Dvarim Me'acherim V'lomad. Chochma should be defined as something which is coming from the outside. I hear you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Chochma. We all go through this, right? Like you can talk to somebody, you can listen to somebody, and it remains like, Shechma Yolamala. Something doesn't go in.
So we're saying there's a malchus in the das. Is there some sort of preliminary level of malchus before it goes down to?
I don't know. You're jumping ahead. Let's go slowly because Ubisvuna, says Rashi, Mevin davar mi liboy. Mevin davar mi liboy. Mitoich dvarim shalom. So he has this chachma, but it's not just he understands the chachma. This in the tahalich of Ruach EloKim, he's Mevin davar mi liboy. So here you have, just getting into your discussion here, what does that mean, Mevin davar mi liboy? Let's look at this deeply.
It's a fire enemy.
I have my lave. I've received my chachma. I haven't yet integrated it, but I'm trying to understand it. I'm trying to process it. Understanding is a hard word because understanding has only to do with intellectual pursuit. But I'm trying to process what's going on. What I mean to say by that is you can process an experience too. You have an experience. It's also Chochma Bina. Isn't it? Again, I'm speaking in Mashallah because it's the only way I can understand it. But like, how often, as an example, are we at an event or a witness to an event and it's in the Bechina of Chochma and it hasn't really been processed. It's not something which we can really, we're almost not there. We feel like we should be there. And we wish we were there, and we look around and see other people seem to be there, but we're just not there.
It's like we're taking a picture of it.
Yeah, it's one of the problems with taking pictures, in fact. That you're not there. You're not there. You're being so bechad. So it remains, it stays in Chochma, it doesn't become Bina. Betzalel, what you need to do is take the Chochma and process and understand it. We're not even talking about integrating it yet, but like make it yours. I remember that Rabbi Yaacov Haber sang on Tisha B'Av that he remembers. He wasn't talking about Tisha B'Av, but he was saying on Tisha B'Av. He remembers that the first year he was in Mir Yeshiva in Europe. He was 19. It wasn't. He was a little. That's only a few years after Bar Mitzvah. But he was married. He was 19 years old. Came to Mir Yeshiva, like a whole world from the east side to Mir Yeshiva, and he got there Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur by Ne'ilah, he sees that the whole of Mir Yeshiva, so who was there? Who was his Chaver in Mir Yeshiva? Chaim Shmulevitz, the Mashgiach, Chatzkel Levitz, they were, Rabbi Yeruchim was sitting there. We're talking about the Gedolei Hadar, we're sitting in that room, It's a small room. You ever saw Mir Yeshiva? It's a small room. Like it doesn't look like Mir Yeshiva today. It's a small place, a little bigger than this. But today it's like a flower shop or something. It's like a Mir Yeshiva. So he's saying that the whole oilam around him by Ne'ilah on Yom Kippur started to cry. And he's looking around and he said, I'm here, but I'm not here. Describing, I'm here, but I'm not here. It's like a very, I'm here, I'm in Mir Yeshiva, I'm in Poland, I'm in Europe, I'm sitting around with Gedolim, the Shlit'a Tzibur was the Mir Rav Kaboy, I'm here, but I'm not being boche, I'm not really part of it. So he described how he started crying at 19 years old over the fact that he wasn't crying. So it looked okay. And by the part of Ne'ilah where it says Sim Dimoisenu b'na'oid liyos, we're asking HaKodesh Baruch Hu to take our dima and put it into a special container and watch that dima. What is the you need the dima, otherwise what are you putting in the container? What are we doing? What's the dima is when a person cries. It's not stylish to cry for males. What is the bechina of dima? You see that Rabbi Kiva came to the Makam HaMikdash with all the Gedolei Hadar, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yeshua. They were all crying. An emotional response. What does that mean? It means to say that there's bina there. There's some bina. This isn't just like, we're watching a movie. Chochma. Working at the Chorban Beis HaMikdash. Chochma. It means to say that something integrated, bina. Rabbi Kiva, Hayim Masachik, he also had an integration. His integration was laughter, but they were there. they were there. Dima, the idea of a tear is a raya that do you ever have this like you're scolding your own child for doing something wrong, and you're frustrated because he's not crying. Don't you get it? Don't you understand what you did wrong? I'm not talking about beating him with just don't you understand that if there's one tear, you'll subside because I understand it reached, it touched, it moved.
So bina is the process you really can't see.
Absolutely can't see.
It's something that's the internal process before the das of crying or laughing, whatever.
So you can have bina and still not get to das, but without bina you have no chance. It's just esoteric. So here but this is what's so fascinating about this pasuk is that this is the talich of the bria itself. The talich of the bria itself. Why? Because the bria itself is the act of taking yesh, getting it somehow out of the ayin, ובכל malacha, and bringing it down to mamish bricks and mortar. Earth, Mishkan, Shechina. Shechina is a malchus. Malchus, you have to be lamata yud. Just have to be lamata yud. It's a davar pashut that, by the way, to me, it's a davar pashut. Everybody asks, like, Rabbi Kiva, like, why'd you pick Bar Chochma as your candidate for Mashiach? Like, he's not even, like, he probably didn't even have a beard, according to the coins. Like, get a guy who looks like, like a Hashem person. The chat is that to him, Malchus is b'chol malacha. That to him the Mashiach didn't have to look like the stipler. To him the Mashiach was down in the trenches. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what you say. The Rambam says that even though Bar Kochba wasn't a real Mashiach, but there's so much you can learn. The Rambam gives a whole list of things you can learn because Rabbi Kiva was real. And over the fact that Rabbi Kiva chose a Bar Kochba, we can know a lot about what Mashiach is supposed to be. So I'm telling you, Mashiach doesn't have to be a beard according to the coins. Meaning, he's a warrior. Why a warrior? Okay, he has to be a Yer Shemayim, so that's why he was not Mashiach. That's something nobody knows. Even Rabbi Kiva apparently didn't know. Or he was a Chacham Shesarach. But it's almost independent. That's what I'm saying. It's almost independent of his Torah. That's just like an extra. This is Malchus. Malchus. So was Betzalel the same Talmud Chacham as Moshe Rabbeinu? No, he was a handyman. But in that handyman, he was finishing Rabbi Yochanan Asandler. Rabbi Yochanan Asandler, how you was the Gemara say? Rabbi Yochanan Asandler, how you mitzarev shemois b'chol tvira u'tvira. What does it mean to be mitzarev shemois? He's bringing the yesh mi'ayin into this world. So that's what the Mishkan is. So says Rashi, that's Tvuna. We know a little bit about Tvuna. Mevin davar mi libo. So coming down for a landing. Mitocha dvarim shalama. Says Rashi ubedas. What's left here?
Actual doing it.
Why does that be called das? We just said he's got the Chochma. He's taking it. He's bringing the Shechina and HaKodesh Baruch Hu and Malchus into this world. Chochma, Bina, he's processing it. So what's left when you're building a Mishkan? He's already maven davar milibo. Versteht allein how it has to be. Right? He's getting it. He's getting it. Right? Right? Isn't this is like when you talk to people, like you want to know, like you're looking at them while you're talking to people, you want to know one thing. Does he get it or does he not get it? Some people get it, some people don't get it. He got it. It's Bina. He got it. So what's left? Says Rashi, B'das zu Ruach HaKodesh. What he didn't know, so he became a makubal. Ruach HaKodesh became a rebbe. What's the Ruach HaKodesh? What Kesher Ruach HaKodesh? You already understand it. What's Ruach HaKodesh?
It's like the blueprint.
Like the blueprint. So we return to Reb Tzadok for a minute, and Reb Tzadok tells us that you should know that the das is replacing the keser, and das is Ruach HaKodesh, and das is Ruach HaKodesh. So what does it mean? What is we have to be exact. Ruach HaKodesh, not das Kodesh, not Chochma's Kodesh. It's not Bina's Kodesh, Ruach HaKodesh. So let's understand this. That let's go through to another great trifecta. Chochma Bina V'das, Keser Chochma Bina, Nefesh Ruach Neshama. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, whatever that might be. It means, says Arizal, Rechaim Elojin in the third parak of Nefesh HaChaim, explains that Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama is working from the down up. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. What I'm after here is what's Ruach. because ruach is das, and das is ruach HaKodesh. So that's what I'm
It's
after.
something that's coming out.
What is?
Ruach HaKodesh. It's something that's coming out from inside of it. If it doesn't come out, it's not Ruach HaKodesh.
So you're saying the Chochma is that bite of information.
Right.
Bina is me processing, and ruach is what I do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Ruach HaKodesh, das. So you're saying das is the articulation
Right.
of what it is that's going on.
Without the articulation, nobody knows that you had it.
The bar das, as we keep on explaining, is the mature person that's integrated. I've taken my Chochma, so I'm crying, like I'm there, I'm doing something. I went through the 6-day war, I saw it,
But
and now
why?
I became frum.
But why are you crying?
A lot of people didn't become frum. Some people did. So those are the people with das. the Balei das are the ones like that. Everybody saw. Whoa, that was cool. You know, like a real miracle. Hashem gave us a miracle in our days, at least in my days. It's a real miracle. Bina. So some people took it to the next step, and did some bina over here. Mi libo, cheshbon hanefesh libo, and some people went to the point of das, where it actually changed a lifestyle change, right? So that's das, the Ruach HaKodesh. But let's work carefully over here. The neshama is, take my word for it, the neshama is bina. You with me on that? Think about it for a second, please. Neshama is lashon nekeva. It's not a nashama. The neshama is that which is mekabel from HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Vayipach ba'apav nishma schana. So the recipient of that breath of Hashem is the neshama. So neshama is nekeva. Neshama is b'chinas ima. The neshama is bina. The neshama is processing. The neshama is not the first thing; it's the second thing. In other words, so let's talk about, or even the third thing. If you say keser chochma bina, so the end of that process, the bina is the neshama. So neshama is, to very simply, where I personally and you personally connect with HaKodesh Baruch Hu, not to be ignored. You could decapitate, yourself and never connect with your neshama. So you become like a mouse. But if you're connected with the neshama, it means you're connected with the shemayim. So you're connected. So bina is the neshama. So that's where I, somewhere within me, is mekabel. But it's within me. That's what's important. It's bina. So Rashi says here, mevin davar mi libo. Usually, by the way, I don't know if it's a rule, like a lave is a lave, tick, tick, tick. But in Torah literature, I'm not talking about Kabbalah, I'm talking about Mishlei, and usually the lave refers to the neshama. Bilvavi Mishkan Evne. Bilvavi, I'll build a Mishkan. So, V'asali mikdash v'shachanti b'socham b'soch, lave kol adam v'adam. So the neshama is like that. That's my big antenna, my big makabel, like a big antenna on the roof, where I'm makabel the yesh mi ayin. So me being yesh. So that toggle switch there is the neshama. And then what? So if that's bina, and then comes das. So das is already my mind. In the other trifecta, so if it's nefesh, ruach, neshama. So the neshama is where I'm makabel. So then that's bina. So the nefesh is what? Das. It works? And then so nefesh is das. We need a chart here. You did this wonderful chesed of getting this whiteboard, but I don't have anything to put stand it on. Is that right? So if somebody wants to do a chesed, no, because it's so difficult to help up here with these things. For me, it's difficult for you. But so what we have here is the bina is the neshama, and then from the neshama we want to get to Chochma, Bina, Das, or in the other three, it's Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, right? So the Neshama is Bina, so then the Ruach becomes Das. Hence comes Rashi, and he says that if Ruach b'Chochma, b'Tvuna, or b'Das is the Ruach HaKodesh. Got my math?
What's Nefesh? Nefesh is Keter?
Nefesh is b'chol malacha. Opposite. You're going the wrong direction.
Neshama is Bina.
Neshama is Bina, we're going down now.
Down. Ruach is Das. And then what's Nefesh? Oh, it's Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, sorry.
Nefesh is b'chol malacha, as it says here. So it's beautiful. Rashi doesn't even talk about that. That world we understand.
Ruach is what? Chochma?
Ruach is Das.
So what? I thought Nefesh was...
Nefesh is b'chol malacha. Tachlis, fingers.
And
Let's do it again.
What's Neshama?
Neshama is Bina. Chochma is above us. It's quite simple. It's not really so complicated. Chochma is above us. It's something that's coming from the outside. If I tell you it's Dvar Chochma, it's something coming from the outside. If I send you an email, it's something coming from the outside. It's a wave. It's not understandable. Bina translates it into things that are meaningful, right? Information that's meaningful. That's what your computer does.
Something I can relate to.
Right. So, but that requires lathe. It requires a recipient, like an antenna, computer, something that I can take that piece of Chochma and make it into something which is readable. So that Bina is called the Neshama, right? Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. Neshama starts where Chochma ends. That's where the Neshama starts, which is logical, because I'm already, the Neshama's already with me, with you. That's where the Neshama is, right? So the Neshama, the HaKodesh Baruch Hu, boom, Yesh Me'ayin. How does it relate to me? Not just Betzalel. How does it relate to me? I have a Neshama. Kibel Masha Kibel. I'm Makabel, what I can be Makabel with my great antenna called the Neshama, and now I need Bina, and Bina is the Neshama. And now, what am I going to do with that? I need to go to Das, and Das in the other language, now we're holding already by Ruach. So Das and Ruach are in the same place, right? Says Rashi, U'B'das, Ze Ruach HaKodesh. So now, when you understand Ruach HaKodesh, is a word we throw around a lot. Ruach HaKodesh. So what's Mamash Ruach HaKodesh? Ruach HaKodesh refers to the Ruach which stands between Nefesh and Neshama. That's not a different Ruach, it's not a different lexicon here. There's only one Ruach. The same Ruach which is Ruach EloKim Rachefes Al Pnei HaMayim. The same thing is V'Amalei Yosem Ruach EloKim. It's all about this Ruach. Ruach is Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach HaKodesh is Das. V'amalei Yosei Ruach EloKim b'Chochma b'Tvuna b'Das. Says Hashem to Moshe. Because Moshe understood these things. Amalei Yosei Ruach EloKim. We're going to give Ruach EloKim. How am I going to get to Ruach EloKim? How am I going to get this Ruach EloKim into Betzalel? Just like I got it into the earth and the world and the water. Ruach EloKim. How's it going to work over here with the water? I don't know. But with Betzalel, the way it's going to work is it's going to go like this. It's going to be, I'm going to give the Chochma, he's going to be Maven Levi with the Bina, it's going to turn into Das, and that's already Ruach. That's the Ruach HaKodesh. Not an independent factor, independent word from Ruach HaKodesh, it's all the same thing.
So what Betzalel produces therefore is the Nefesh.
It's Malchus.
Right? It's
But Betzalel is absolutely not Ubechol Malacha.
The malacha is the...
Now let's get the hammer.
That's connected to the goof the more than anything else. It's the lowest levels. It's the part that's...
Most physical.
Yeah.
Most articulated. Most, how does it act out? What's fascinating about all this is, I mean, the whole thing's kind of fascinating actually, but what's especially fascinating about it is that you could get to the place of a Chochma that have nothing to do with Ruach Hashem. You can build a whole Mishkan, you can build a church, you can build a Vatican, you can build whatever you want. You can build a house, you can build a base of Avodah Zarah, you can build a base of this. So how does that happen?
Because the Shekhinah doesn't dwell inside that.
I know, but how did it get there? How did that Yesh Mi'ayin happen? How did it happen? The answer is, there's different channels, there's different pathways that a person can choose. So that's not Ruach HaKodesh. That's Ruach Tumah. That's what's so important to understand about free choice in this world of Bechira Chafshus. It's not whether you'll be successful or you won't be successful. In other words, if you want a spiritual reality, you need to have a spiritual process. You're not going to get it from going to a Beis Avodah Zarah. You'll get something that might feel similar, by the way, because it's going through another process. It's a different talich, but it's not the same thing. It's not. Once said over a story about. I think it was the Rizhiner Rebbe. They said the Rizhiner Rebbe used to bench, there's a tremendous amount of kavana, like obvious kavana. Kim liyotcha, hamleya, hapsucha, HaKodesh, v'archava, shloya, idei manaspas arvidam, loy lidei alvasim, kim liyotcha, hamleya, hapsucha. I want my parnas only to come from Hashem. I don't want any gifts. I don't want any loans. I don't want anything. I want it to come from Hashem. So his young daughter, the Rishoner's daughter, was watching a bench, and he says to him, Abba, you're messing up our whole parnasa. Like we don't have. It's not like you have a grocery store, you know. It's not like what are you asking for? That nobody should give the dabbas? Nobody should give tzedakah to the Rishoner Shtibel. Nobody should be mefardas us. We have to eat. Which is, by the way, Suga passed, the story of Suga passed for the Beis Rishon, which was called Beis Malchus. They were knowing Malchus, the Rishoner. It was all about Malchus. So he said, what are you davening with so much kavanah? So he said to her that, look, I'm not saying that I want to win the lottery instead of getting, Shmerel the butcher to give me money. What I'm saying is that everything that we have in this world is coming from Shemayim, yeah? So the question is, what sinor is it flowing through? Where is this flowing through? Is it flowing through a tzimor of Kedusha? Is it flowing through a tzimor of Tumah? I'm davening like this. I'm davening that if somebody made money crookedly in their butcher shop or in the stock market or whatever they made it, I don't want it because it came through a wrong channel. It looks good. So does the Vatican. It looks good. It could, but it's niyar shenitpas olav b'chul Shabbos. So it's not just that it's contaminated, it's tummy. It came through the wrong channel. The yesh mi'ayin that was created here. So I'm asking, ki'im liyotcha miyotcha hamleya hapsucha HaKodesh. I want it all to come from this side, from the right side, and not from the left side. Now, some tzaddik is coming who honestly made a buck and wants to give tzedakah. So I'm happy, I'm honored to take it, but not this is the tefillah of Kim Liyat. At least if you're the Rizhiner Rebbe, that's the tefillah. So it's the same thing if you're in business. It's the same thing if you're in business. There's so many different ways to be successful. You're davening that we should be successful, but there should all be miyad cham le'yab sucha. So what's the yad cham le'yab sucha? Which we can darshan on this also, but it's already getting late. What's the pshat miyad cham le'yab sucha hakedosha? Also has 7 spheres in it. But the point is that we're talking about neshama ruach nefesh. By the time it gets to my hands, B'chol malacha, it's got to go through a talich. So Hashem was telling Moshe that there's a talich here with this Betzalel. He's not just coming up with something from the down up. He's not taking it from the wrong channel. What you're looking at over here, what Betzalel comes up with, what Betzalel is coming up with is divinely inspired. Because Moshe's looking at where did he get this from? And not only that, he argued with Moshe. He argued with Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "This is the way you should do it." He said, "No, it's not the way you do it." And this was Ruach HaKodesh. This was the Ruach HaKodesh of Betzalel. And that's why it was called Betzalel Kel.
Nebuah is Chochma.
Nebuah is Chochma.
So what's better then?
That's our Reb Tzadok question. That's the Reb Tzadok question. But before we take a vote on this. You want to understand the two processes. So Nevuah, of course, is better. It's higher. It's the Chochmas Hashem. But it has no Bina. It has no Bina. Today, that there's no Nevi'im, where's the Nevuah go? To the Shaitim, Gemara says. Meaning, it had to go somewhere. I don't know why, but it had to go somewhere. Siluk Nevuah went to the Shaitim. Why? Because Shaitim have no Bina. So, okay, so maybe you can press on the computer and tell us when the Mechamas Gog Magog is going to happen. I don't know, but it's not Bina. It's not Bina. Ula Tinaikas comes to the Tinaikas also. So you find even in the Tanoim, time of the Chorb Beis HaMikdash, they would pull a kid out of second grade or first grade, and they say Psokli Psukach Atonza. That was how they guided themselves.
Well,
Because that's Chochma. Chochmas Hashem comes without Bina, unprocessed, completely unprocessed. Very difficult to digest. So whereas the Ruach HaKodesh, so Ruach Zudas. So that means that I've taken that Nevuah, and now I've processed it through Ruach, which is Das. So the Neshama is Bina, and this is Das. Now I have Torah Shabbat Peh. Now I have such a deep understanding of the Ratzon Hashem, so integrated, that I can now come up with an idea called Das Torah. I don't mean that politically, but like Das Torah, meaning that you'll ask somebody who's on this madrega of Das, everything they say is Torah. It doesn't make any difference. Gives me an H, it's Torah. It's Das Torah, because everything's coming from the right channel. So that's Torah Shabbat Peh. That's Torah Shabbat Peh. And what's so amazing about this is machlokas. Because machlokas means machlokas is way down at the bottom of this tree. Like, I processed it, you processed it, makarapa, that we have different opinions. But it's beautiful, because just like there's seven spheros, just like the things can fly in different directions. It's good. I'm let me just say something personal before we go home here. I was thinking about it. Like, nobody likes machlokas really. Like let's say you're knocking on somebody's door to come, visit, say hello. You're knocking on somebody's door and you hear inside like husband and wife screaming at each other. This happened to me yesterday. Screaming at each other. Well, you don't know where to put yourself. You're not going to lock back on the door. You're going to walk into the middle. Right? Really bad energy here, right? Like screaming. Okay, well, maybe they're screaming at a dog or something. Oh, by name, screaming. So like your mom should run away the other way. No, like it's I just. But I mentioned this before. It was just years and years ago. The BBC came to our yeshiva to interview. They did this a thing of all the nations, of all the religions of the world. You can see it. It's a famous series on all religions of the world. So they went to India, they went to Rome, they came to Jerusalem. So and they needed English speakers, so they came to our. We were the only English speakers at that time in yeshiva. And so I remember the guy. I was very involved with this thing. But I remember the guy saying, the interviewer, the interviewer, he's saying, he looks at the base measures, they're screaming at each other, they're all. And one of those smarter people said, does it look like a negative to you? Does it look like negative energy to you? Does this feel like the screaming that's going on when you knock at a door? He didn't say this, I'm saying, you knock at a door, do you hear a husband and wife screaming at each other, or a father screaming at a child, or where you just don't know where to put yourself? So the answer is, it feels kind of good, actually. You go into, it feels kind of good. It's so this is machlokas, that's machlokas. The answer is, it depends the process that this is coming from. That's the So Friday, let's say, I'll give you an example of this. Like Friday is the end of the Sheishis Yemei HaMaisa. So end of Sheishis Yemei HaMaisa means like the end of the Bria going into Shabbos. So Arizal, be careful on Friday because the Malkim is sugal for Machlok, as we all know. So Malkim is that's just because it's busy. It's just something about Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We're arguing again. It's like there's something about Friday. What's that something? That's something about Fridays. It's the end of the Bria. Where are we going with this? Doing it to the positive side or to the Sitra? Achlokas could be the holiest thing in the world because that's what's Mavara things that makes things even clearer. Right? So it's all about Machlaikas. So Machlaikas l'shem Shemayim soifa lihiskayim. What's the mile of that? No, I'm just going to look. What's the Machlaikas l'shem Shemayim soifa lihiskayim? Is that good? They're arguing, already 2,000 years they're arguing. What's the mile of soifa lihiskayim? Machlaikas l'shem Shemayim should be solved. Settled, peaceful. What's the machlokes of Sefer Lizkai? Machlokes Shadol Shem Shemayim. You're running cars about us. Run away from there. It's run away. It's horrible. It feels horrible. It feels terrible. Nobody wants to be there. Machlokes Shem Shemayim. Hillel v'Shamai. Zu Hillel v'Shamai. Till today, people. It feels good. That's a good energy. So there's a difference here in the same thing of the energy. So let's get back to you with me. So what we're talking about here is the Azvahe Basufa means that at the end there's peace because of this machlokes. It's healthy. It's debate. It's a debate which is not just kosher, needed, necessary. It's healthy. It's machaber. Actually, the machlokes is actually machaber. We talked it out. We discussed it through. So that's the machlokes b'kedusha. Okay, let's sum up over here. So we're talking about the one last word that I want to say here is that now that we learned that Ruach is a Ruach, meaning Ruach is Das. Das is Ruach HaKodesh. So there's only one Ruach HaKodesh. It's interesting that in the works of the Arizal, there's such a thing as Timtum HaLev, and there's such a thing as Timtum HaRuach. Timtum HaLev, Lev's in the Neshama. That's in the Bina. You process things wrong. There could be a, when you're going through the code over here, there could be a fault in the Bina, which is the Neshama, or there could be a Timtum in the Ruach. Timtum in the Ruach is in the Das. So what does it mean here? Like a person, Timtum Alev, person eats treif. Can I get the Ratzon Hashem? Eat treif, talk lashon hara. So it's called if you eat treif, it's called timtum alev. If you talk lashon hara, it's called timtum haruach. What's happening over here means that the process of bringing something from the shamayim, from ayin, and bringing it into yesh is betumtam. But it can become betumtam at any place in this chart. It can become metumtam in the neshama, which is being. It can't be metumtam in Chochma because that's from Hashem. But you can make a timtum in your neshama by, like you just cover the antenna with a big, thick, kind of things that the dentist put on you so you don't get, cancer when they give you an X-ray. You can cover. So that's one thing that can happen. Timtum alev. But then there's and then there's Timtum HaRuach. Ruach is in the Das of the thing, not in the Bina, but in the Das of the thing. There could be a Timtum, and then there could be an Aveira. An Aveira is you did it wrong. At the end, you chose to eat the wrong thing. So, right? So, in other words, the Timtum. This is what's important. I want to get to this on Monday. Monday.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Monday.
Today's Wednesday.
Oh yeah, Monday.
See what happens when we get to this high. Yeah. But I want us all to think about this, like over Shabbos, like the talich that everything's happening. You look at everything. You look at your children and say, "What's the talich?" This is kedusha taras HaKodesh. You look at your marriage. What's the talich? Look at my thoughts. Look at my decisions. You look at the things that I'm building in this world. Building with my hands, building with my mind, with my pen. The things that I'm saying, where's it coming from? Is that where it's coming from, or is it coming from a sitra? It's coming from a different sitra, different path. So that's and is there timtum along the way? That's not allowing the flow. So here we have the perfect Shechina was in Betzalel. This is the summation. His Ruach EloKim, the Chochma, Tvuna, ובכל, because he's from Mata Yehuda, and that's what Malchus is all about.